Kaiyodo is a Japanese company that produces many lines of figures and garage kits, and known for its Revoltech figures. Now I've sold all my Fist of the North Star Revoltechs, so my remaining interest lies in the Dinotales figures. Now similar to the figure builder Monster Hunter monsters, these are tiny figurines that require some simple assembly. And I'll just do a quick demo with this Brachiosaurus. I only have 5 and I wanted to show them to you. The common theme you'll see is that while some of them have anatomical inaccuracies, what really stands out is the quality of the sculpting and the paint application that they can achieve at such small sizes. Now these aren't intended to be scientifically accurate, though you'll see they actually do quite well here. But I really think of these as little artistic trinkets. They're small, decorative, and beautifully coloured, and you might even get away with buying for your wife or for your girlfriend. Now first is the Series 2 Brachiosaurus. Like most models, the form is closer to Giraffe Titan, most obviously in the torso proportions. They've even attempted to recreate that colonnade look with one thumb out. It's 11.5 centimeters or 4.5 inches long, and 7.2 centimeters or 2.8 inches tall. Now Brachiosaurus was 24 meters or 78.6 feet long, and had a height of 15 meters or 49 feet tall. Using either dimension gives you a neat 1 to 208 scale. You'll see textured detail, but the main thing is the very interesting colours here. Now such a pleasing mix of blacks and pale yellow or beige. And especially for me here on the tail, these stripes. The contrast with the orange aside, this has even better blending than I've seen in larger models. Now look at the black fades on the underside. And how the white adds that little extra interest. Now one thing you might notice is that because of the small size, you can get away with quite fantastical coloration for this massive animal, which would probably be a hard sell at a larger scale. Next we have the Series 5 Carnotaurus. Now Carnotaurus being my favourite dinosaur, is wonderful to have a rep from the Dinotales line. Now right away some proportional issues leap out, and most importantly for me is of course the hands. These are too big. They did however make an effort to make the fourth metacarpal stick out like a sore thumb, so credit for that. It's 11 centimeters or 4.3 inches long. Now Carnotaurus was 8 meters or 26 feet, making it about 1 to 72 scale, and actually scaling very nicely with my David Krantz Tyrannosaurus. But the main selling point is the insane colour. The focal point of Carnotaurus being the head, it gets the flashiest coloration. Now you can see the fades from the red to the crimson. Very suitable colour for a meat-eating bull. And with this gloss, it reminds me of red lacquer. The fiery motif is carried down the body. On top of that, you have the pattern. From these streaks, the stripes, the stipples, the spots, And even in a fit of exuberance, the underside is patterned, something I've never seen before in a theropod. They've even bothered to add some white to the teeth. And a little bonus is this carcass, this rack of ribs. And this pool of blood, a nice little diorama. Now the other three I got were non-dinosaurs and all related to water. We have an amphibian, a fish, and a reptile. Now first, the amphibian. Or more correctly, the stem tetrapod Acanthostega from Series 2. Now I do believe this is the first and only amphibian I have, so that's something special in itself. Now something very unusual you might not know. The four-limbed groups, the reptiles, the amphibians, the mammals, and the birds are tetrapods, so we follow the same general bioplan with modifications. Now most animals we can think of have 5 fingers on the hand or fewer. But the earliest experiments, right after the lobe-finned fishes came onto land, had more. Acanthostega had 8, although interestingly here, the left hand has 7 and the right hand has only 6. Still, I appreciate the effort to at least convey this interesting fact, given that this isn't intended to be a scientific model. It's 8 centimeters or 3.2 inches long. Acanthostega was about 60 centimeters or 23.6 inches, making this about 1:7 scale. The highlight is always the color. You can see how this deep purple fades into the tail here. Now these Kaiyodo Dinotales generally have a gloss applied over them, and this works especially well for water creatures since it gives them a wet sheen. You see this here, and also in the belly. And the patterning here, the spots against the silver. And then there, the yellow against the purple. Now something about this just screams amphibian to me. The eyes are carefully painted, with an unbelievably tiny dot of the pupil. But look at this extra rim of orange around the yellow. Now this is something they didn't have to do. And also look at this very slightly open mouth. I mean, they could have just made this in one closed mouth piece, and this is an extra that most people won't even notice. Yet going the extra mile here really gives you that subtle hint of life in a lifeless model. Then we have the Series 2 Ichythyosaurus. Now Ichythyosaurus is no stranger to all of us, so not much needs to be said other than to just admire this beautiful figurine. And the first impression I get is streamlined. I'll look at how smooth this is, a fact highlighted by the gloss over the entire animal. Just look at that economical form of this. And most winning of all, just look at that color. Now, this looks like beautiful lacquer to me. The pattern, the colors, and even here on the underside, they've added a very subtle touch of pink, an orange. It's just one of those things that I just take one look and everything just works for me. It's 7.3 centimeters or 2.9 inches long, and Ichythyosaurus was 3 meters or 10 feet, making this 1:41 scale. And finally, we have the Series 2 Teraspis. Now here we come to a genus that's eluded me even though it's one of the very first prehistoric animals I learnt of as a kid. This was an early armored fish. I'm surprised hasn't received a decent model yet. Since it's a Devonian fish, most people have probably seen in some painting or other. It's 9 centimeters or 3.5 inches long, and these little guys were about 20 centimeters or 7.9 inches, making this almost half size or 1:2 scale. Again, look at that color and pattern. Now this spike here and this spine here have an almost translucent look to them. Now see how this anchors the radiating black on copper pattern, and then how this leads the eye down here. The rest is just beautiful as well. Again, that glistening gives you that underwater wet look. So that's it for my little Kaiyodo Dinotales. I'm really fascinated by miniatures that are well sculpted, detailed, and incredibly painted at a tiny scale. I regard these as really works of art, and the inaccuracies I can overlook just for the artistry of these figurines. They're also small, so they don't take up valuable real estate, and they're nice little table pieces for when you're having an especially hard day at work. They're also generally cheap, though some do cost more than others. So let me know what you think, and if you have some Dinotales as well, let me know what your favorites are, and I'll look them up to admire online. So take care my friends, I'll see you soon for another video.